Hollywood, 1958. Sean Connery was 27 years old. Nobody knew his name yet. James Bond didn't exist. He was just another struggling actor trying to make it. And on this particular night, at this particular party, he made a mistake that should have killed him. He smiled at Lana Turner, and her boyfriend saw it. Johnny Stompanato didn't say hello, didn't introduce himself, just walked up to Sean, opened his jacket, and showed him the knife. 8 inches, serrated edge, the kind that doesn't just cut, it destroys. Johnny smiled, said 5 words. "Stay away from my girl." Most men would apologize, back away, disappear. Sean Connery looked at the knife, looked at Johnny, and did something that should have gotten him killed. He laughed. But let's back up, because to understand why Sean laughed at a mobster holding a knife, you need to know where he came from. And it wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't glamour. It was the kind of place where knives were breakfast conversation. Edinburgh, Scotland, 1930s, Fountain Bridge slums. Sean grew up surrounded by violence, bar fights, street gangs, men who settled arguments with fists and bottles. His father was a truck driver who drank. His uncles were worse. By the time Sean was 15, he'd been in more fights than most men see in a lifetime. Not because he wanted to, because survival in Fountain Bridge meant knowing how to take a punch and how to throw one. At 16, he joined the Navy, got tattooed, got tough, got discharged 3 years later with ulcers and a body built like a weapon. Came back to Edinburgh with nothing, started bodybuilding, bouncing at nightclubs, breaking up fights between sailors and dock workers, men twice his age, twice as mean. And Sean learned something crucial in those years, something that would save his life in Hollywood. He learned that scared men are predictable, and Johnny Stompanato was scared. Fast forward to 1958. Sean's in Hollywood now. Barely. He's got small roles, forgettable parts. But he landed something bigger, a film called Another Time, Another Place, co-starring with Lana Turner. The Lana Turner, one of the biggest stars in the world, gorgeous, talented, and dangerously involved with the wrong man. Johnny Stompanato, real name John. But everyone called him Johnny. He was a bodyguard for Mickey Cohen, one of Los Angeles's most powerful mob bosses. Johnny wasn't just dangerous because of who he worked for. He was dangerous because he was insecure, paranoid, violent, and obsessed with Lana Turner. See, Lana was a star. Johnny was a thug. And he knew it. Knew she was out of his league, knew every man in Hollywood wanted her, so he controlled her, showed up on set uninvited, threatened her co-stars, made sure everyone knew she was his property. And when Lana started filming with Sean Connery, Johnny's paranoia went into overdrive. Because Sean was young, handsome, charismatic, everything Johnny wasn't. And worse, Lana liked him. Not romantically, just professionally. They had good chemistry on screen, laughed between takes, and that was enough. Johnny decided Sean Connery was a threat, and Johnny eliminated threats. March 1958. The set of Another Time, Another Place. Johnny shows up unannounced, walks straight past security, past the crew, straight to where Sean and Lana are rehearsing, grabs Lana's arm, pulls her away. Sean watches, says nothing, but his jaw tightens. The crew goes quiet, and Johnny notices. He walks over to Sean, gets close enough that Sean can smell the cologne, the cigarettes, the violence. Johnny speaks low, so the crew can't hear, but Sean hears every word. "You think you're tough? You think because you're in movies now you're somebody? I'll cut your pretty face off." Sean doesn't blink, just stares. And Johnny makes his first mistake. He assumes silence means fear, so he pushes harder, shows the knife, runs his thumb along the blade. And that's when Sean does something Johnny never expected. He smiles. Not a nervous smile, not a scared smile, a genuine, almost amused smile, like Johnny just told a joke. And then Sean says something that changes everything. Go ahead. 2 words. That's all. Johnny freezes. Because in his world, when you show a knife, people back down. They apologize. They run. They don't smile. They don't say, go ahead. And suddenly Johnny realizes he's made a mistake. Because Sean Connery isn't scared. And men who aren't scared are the most dangerous kind. Here's what Johnny didn't know. Sean had been in this exact situation before. Multiple times. In Edinburgh, in the Navy, in nightclubs where drunk sailors pulled knives every weekend. And Sean learned something those nights. Something crucial. Men who show knives don't want to use them. They want you to be scared of them. The moment you're not scared, they lose their power. And Johnny just lost his. The crew is watching now. Cameras stopped rolling. Everyone's frozen, waiting to see if Hollywood's about to witness a murder. And Johnny's stuck, because if he backs down, he looks weak. But if he attacks, he's stabbing an actor on a film set in front of 50 witnesses. Either way, he loses. So he does the only thing he can. He laughs, pretends it was a joke, puts the knife away, pats Sean on the shoulder like they're old friends, says something about just messing around, and walks away. But everyone on that set knows the truth. Johnny's Stompanato just backed down, and he'll never forgive Sean Connery for it. But here's where it gets darker, because Johnny didn't forget, and 3 weeks later, he tried again. April 1958, Lana Turner's house, Beverly Hills. Sean gets a call. It's Lana. She's crying, says Johnny's there, says he's threatening her, saying he's going to kill her if she doesn't stop filming with Sean. She's locked herself in the bedroom, needs help. Sean tells her to call the police. She says she can't. Johnny has connections. Cops won't touch him. So Sean does something stupid, something brave, something that almost gets him killed. He drives to Lana's house, walks up to the front door, knocks. And when Johnny answers, Sean doesn't wait for an invitation. He walks inside, closes the door behind him, and the 2 men stand there, in Lana Turner's living room, alone. Johnny's not smiling anymore. He's furious, because Sean just disrespected him again, came to his woman's house, uninvited, like Johnny doesn't exist. And this time, there's no crew watching, no witnesses, just 2 men. And Johnny's hand moves toward his jacket. Sean sees it, knows what's coming, and he makes a split-second decision. He doesn't wait for Johnny to pull the weapon. He moves first, 1 step forward, grabs Johnny by the collar, slams him against the wall, hard, and says something that Johnny will remember for the rest of his short life. Touch her again, and I'll kill you myself. Sean lets go, walks upstairs, checks on Lana, makes sure she's okay. And when he comes back down, Johnny's gone, disappeared. But Sean knows this isn't over, because men like Johnny don't forgive. They retaliate. And Sean just made an enemy who kills people for a living. For the next 2 weeks, Sean looks over his shoulder, changes his routine, sleeps with a chair against his door, waits for Johnny to make his move. But nothing happens. No threats, no calls, no knives. And Sean starts to think maybe Johnny backed down for good. Maybe the message got through. He's wrong. April 4th, 1958. Good Friday. Sean's at home. Gets a call from a friend, a reporter. says he needs to turn on the news, right now. Sean turns on the TV, and what he sees stops his heart. Johnny Stompanato found dead in Lana Turner's home, stabbed, police investigating. Sean sits down, can't process it. Johnny's dead, stabbed, in Lana's house. And for a moment, Sean thinks he's about to be arrested, because everyone on that film set knew about their confrontation. Everyone knew Sean threatened him. But then the news anchor says something that changes everything. Lana Turner's 14-year-old daughter has confessed to the killing. Cheryl Crane, Lana's daughter, 14 years old. She'd grabbed a kitchen knife, stabbed Johnny in the stomach, killed him. And when police asked why, she said Johnny was threatening her mother. Said she heard him screaming, heard him say he was going to kill Lana. So Cheryl did what Sean almost did. She eliminated the threat. The trial happens fast. Cheryl's a minor. The killing is ruled justifiable homicide, self-defense. She doesn't spend a day in jail. But the details that come out during the trial, they're horrifying. Johnny had been abusing Lana for months. Beatings, threats, control. And Cheryl watched it all, until she couldn't watch anymore. Sean doesn't testify, doesn't get involved, but he reads every article, watches every news segment, and he realizes something that haunts him for the rest of his life. If he'd done what he wanted that night in Lana's living room, if he'd actually killed Johnny, Cheryl wouldn't have had to. A 14-year-old girl wouldn't have blood on her hands because Sean hesitated. But here's the twist nobody talks about. The thing that came out years later in Cheryl's autobiography. She didn't just stab Johnny because he was threatening her mother that night. She stabbed him because 2 weeks earlier, Johnny had told her about Sean Connery, about the confrontation, about how Sean had disrespected him. And Johnny made Cheryl a promise. I'm going to kill that Scottish actor, and then I'm going to kill your mother. Cheryl didn't believe him until that night, when Johnny showed up drunk, furious, ranting about Sean Connery, about Lana, about respect, and Cheryl realized he meant it. He was going to kill Sean first, then Lana. So she grabbed the knife, and she saved them both. Sean didn't know this, not for years, not until Cheryl's book came out in 1988, 30 years later. And when he read it, he broke down, called Cheryl, apologized, said he should have handled it differently, should have protected her. She told him something he never forgot. You did protect me. You showed me what courage looks like, and when I needed it most, I remembered. After Johnny's death, Sean's career changed, not because of the scandal, but because of what it taught him. He learned that Hollywood wasn't just cameras and scripts. It was violence, power, control. And if you wanted to survive, you needed to be willing to fight, really fight. So he did. When studios tried to control him, he pushed back. When directors disrespected him, he walked off set. When producers threatened his career, he threatened theirs. And eventually, in 1962, when they offered him James Bond, he understood something the producers didn't. Bond wasn't acting, it was survival. The same survival instinct that made him smile at Johnny's knife, the same instinct that made him walk into Lana's house alone. Bond was just Sean Connery, but with permission to be dangerous. The knife Johnny showed him that night? Sean kept a photo of it, never said why, but people close to him knew. It was a reminder that Hollywood's monsters weren't on screen, they were behind it, and the only way to beat them was to be more dangerous than they were. Johnny Stompanato died on April 4th, 1958. Sean Connery lived another 62 years, And in every interview, in every role, in every confrontation, you could see it. That same smile he gave Johnny, that same fearlessness. Because Sean learned something in that Hollywood living room, something that turned him from a struggling actor into a legend. Fear is a choice, and Sean Connery chose not to be afraid, even when he should have been, especially when he should have been. Cheryl Crane is still alive today. She never acted, never sought fame. But in interviews, when people ask about that night, she says the same thing. That she didn't kill Johnny because she was brave. She killed him because someone showed her bravery was possible. Someone proved that monsters could be stopped. That someone was Sean Connery, the man who smiled at a knife and changed Hollywood forever.